Echo's pulling back. Torres called out. Through her scope, Natalie watched Task Force Echo attempting a fighting retreat toward the eastern ridge. But they were taking casualties. Webb was down, leg wound. Chen was supporting him, both of them exposed. Natalie tracked across the battlefield, finding threats before they found targets. A machine gunner setting up position. Her round caught him in the shoulder, destroying his aim. A squad leader coordinating flanking maneuvers. Her second shot forced his unit to ground. Her damaged ribs screamed with each recoil. Her leg throbbed. The pain medication Torres had given her was wearing off, replaced by raw agony. She took another shot, then another, 12 rounds remaining. 10. 8. Air support inbound. Stevens reported. 2 minutes. Mitchell's voice came through. Echoes pinned down in the open. They're not going to make it to the ridge. Natalie saw it too. Hayes and 6 soldiers trapped in a depression, enemy forces closing from 2 directions. Another minute and they'd be overrun. I can reach them, Natalie said. Negative, Mitchell said immediately. You're too valuable in Overwatch. They're going to die, and you're injured. You reach them, you die too. Natalie looked through her scope one more time, saw Hayes, the man who'd abandoned her, firing desperately at advancing Russians, saw Chen, young and terrified, trying to bandage Webb's leg while taking incoming fire, saw soldiers who'd never questioned orders, who'd just followed the captain they trusted. Her brother's voice from a decade ago, the last conversation before he deployed. Sometimes the only way out is through. Natalie stood, every injury protested. I'm going. Carver. She was already moving, limping down the slope toward Echo's position, rifle in hand, legs screaming with each step. Return fire cracked past her. She ignored it, focused on movement, on reaching the depression, on doing what should have been done from the start. She reached the edge and dropped in, landing hard on her bad leg. Pain exploded white, hot. Carver, Chen's voice, shocked and relieved. Move, Natalie ordered. Eastern Ridge. Now I'll cover. Hayes stared at her, blood on his face, uniform torn. You're alive. Yes, we'll discuss that later. Right now, move your people or they die. For once, Hayes didn't argue. He started organizing the retreat, soldiers moving in pairs, supporting each other. Natalie positioned herself at the depression's edge, using her remaining rounds with brutal efficiency. 3 enemy soldiers advancing from the west. She dropped all 3 with leg shots. 2 more from the north, headshots this time. No time for mercy. Her magazine went dry. She reloaded her last one. 6 rounds left. The roar of jets split the sky. 2 F-18s streaked overhead, releasing ordnance on enemy positions with devastating precision. The ridgelines erupted in fire and smoke. The enemy assault broke, soldiers retreating in disarray. Mitchell and his SEALs moved in, providing covering fire as Echo made their final push to the ridge. Natalie fired her last rounds, then drew her sidearm, continuing to suppress enemy movement until every American soldier was clear. Then she collapsed. The medevac helicopter touched down 20 minutes later, rotors whipping snow into a blinding vortex. Natalie watched from a seated position against a rock, Torres applying fresh bandages to her reopened wounds. Her leg was swelling badly. Her ribs had gone from broken to possibly fractured worse. Her body was done negotiating. Captain Hayes approached slowly, weapon slung, hands visible. He looked like he'd aged a decade in the past 3 days. Blood, dirt, and shame covered him in equal measure. Lieutenant Carver, he began, then stopped. What could he possibly say? Save it, Natalie said. Her voice was flat, empty of anger. Anger required energy she didn't have. Your men are alive. That's what matters. Hayes swallowed. I thought you were dead. You ordered them to leave me behind. The building was collapsing. Enemy forces were closing. I made a tactical decision. You made a choice, and you'll have to live with that choice for the rest of your life. But right now, Captain, you need to answer a different question. Who compromised this mission? Hayes's expression shifted from guilt to confusion. What? Mitchell stepped forward, tablet in hand. Captain, we need to discuss your intelligence sources. This entire operation, from the initial mission parameters to your extraction point, was designed to put American soldiers in a kill box. Someone fed you faulty intel. Someone wanted Task Force Echo eliminated. Hayes looked at the tablet Mitchell offered, scanning the tactical analysis. His face paled. This can't be right. It's very right, Mitchell said. Your mission briefing came from a compromised source, possibly a double agent in military intelligence, possibly a corrupted database. We're still investigating. But Lieutenant Carver's assessment was correct. You were being set up for annihilation. Hayes sat down heavily. Ooh. We don't know yet. But the moment you report back to command with Carver still alive, whoever arranged this will know their operation failed. That makes you all witnesses. That makes you all targets. Webb, his leg bandaged and splinted, spoke up from where he sat. Sir, the LT saved our lives. She did, Hayes agreed quietly, after we left her to die. Yes, the word hung there, simple and terrible. Chen approached, young face serious. Captain, request permission to file supplementary report. The official record should reflect what actually happened here. Hayes looked at his soldiers, at Chen, at Webb, at the others who'd followed his orders without question. Then at Natalie, who'd saved them despite having every reason not to. Permission granted, he said. Then, to Natalie, I can't undo what I did. I can't give you back those days. But I can make sure the truth is told. The truth, Natalie said, is that you made a call under pressure. Maybe it was the wrong call. Maybe it was the only call you thought you had. But the truth is also that 30 American soldiers are alive today because a SEAL team decided to trust me, and because I decided that being abandoned doesn't mean abandoning others. Mitchell's radio crackled. Echo 7, SEAL Command wants full debrief on recovery operation and intelligence compromise. They're sending a dedicated investigation team. Copy that. Mitchell looked at Hayes. Captain, you and your unit will need to give detailed statements. The intelligence failure will be investigated thoroughly, and Lieutenant Carver's role in preventing casualties will be documented. Understood. The medevac crew was loading wounded. Webb first, then Stevens, then 2 other Echo soldiers who'd been injured in the firefight. The crew chief looked at Natalie. Mom, you need evacuation too. Those injuries are serious. Natalie stood, using her rifle as a crutch. Every movement was agony, but she'd be damned if she'd be carried out after everything else. I can walk. Carver. Hayes started. I said I can walk. She limped toward the helicopter, Torres supporting her other side. Mitchell and his SEALs fell in around her, a protective formation that spoke louder than any words. As the helicopter lifted off, Natalie looked down at the battlefield, at the snow-covered ruins, at the ridgelines where she'd made impossible shots with a damaged rifle, at the place where she'd been abandoned and returned. Webb, sitting across from her, met her eyes. Why'd you come back for us? Because someone had to do the right thing, Natalie said. Might as well be me. Chen spoke up. The captain's going to face an inquiry for leaving you behind. Maybe he should. But you saved him anyway. Natalie looked out the window, watching the dead city recede into distance. I didn't save him, I saved you, all of you, because you deserved a chance to go home. Hayes, seated at the helicopter's far end, said nothing. But his expression carried the weight of a man who'd been given a gift he didn't deserve and couldn't repay. Mitchell leaned close to Natalie. When we get back, Command's going to want to know everything. Every detail of your survival, your intelligence gathering, your tactical assessment. You're going to be debriefed for hours. Looking forward to it. Natalie said, voice heavy with irony. "They're also going to want to know if you're interested in a transfer." Natalie met his eyes. "Transfer? SEALs are expanding operational parameters, looking for soldiers with specific skill sets: see marksmanship, independent operation capability, ability to make hard choices in impossible situations." Mitchell smiled slightly. "You'd fit right in." Natalie considered this. The Army had been her life for 8 years, but the Army had also left her to die in the snow. "I'll think about it. That's all I'm asking." The helicopter carried them north toward friendly territory, toward safety, toward a future that 3 days ago Natalie had been certain she wouldn't see. Below in the ruins, the church bell continued its pointless tolling, marking time for no one. But somewhere in that sound, Natalie heard something else: the echo of survival. The proof that being abandoned wasn't the end of the story, just a different beginning. Forward Operating Base Guardian, American Sector. Natalie sat in the medical ward, leg elevated, ribs wrapped, watching snow fall through the window. Christmas had passed, barely noticed in the chaos of debriefings, intelligence reviews, and formal statements. The investigation into the compromised intelligence was ongoing. Hayes was facing an official inquiry. Task Force Echo had been temporarily disbanded pending review, and Natalie was being told to rest. She was terrible at resting. Mitchell entered without knocking, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Thought you could use this?" "Thought SEALs didn't knock." "We don't. That's why I just walked in." He handed her the coffee. "How's the leg?" "Doctors say 6 weeks before I'm fully mobile. Ribs will take longer." Could have been worse. Could have been dead. Mitchell sat in the chair beside her bed. Command finished the preliminary review. The intelligence officer, who provided Echo's mission parameters, was receiving information from a corrupted source, a Russian military intelligence operation that's been running for 2 years. They've compromised at least a dozen operations, so it wasn't personal. "No. You were just unlucky enough to be on a mission designed to fail." Mitchell paused. "But Hayes's decision to abandon you, that's still being investigated separately." "What's the likely outcome?" "Depends on how charitable the review board feels. Best case, censure and reassignment. Worst case, court-martial, most likely forced retirement and a permanent mark on his record." Natalie sipped her coffee. "He made a bad call under pressure." "He shouldn't lose everything for that." "You're defending him." "I'm being realistic. Soldiers make mistakes. If we court-martialed everyone who made a bad decision in combat, we wouldn't have an army." "That's generous, considering he left you to die." "He left me behind. I'm the one who decided not to die." Natalie looked at Mitchell. "What about the transfer you mentioned?" "Still on the table." "SEAL Command was impressed with your performance." "More than impressed. You operated independently in enemy territory, gathered intelligence, coordinated a successful rescue, and prevented significant American casualties. That's exactly the kind of operator they're looking for." "I'm Army." "You were Army. You can be Navy if you want." Natalie considered this. The Army had been her identity since she was 22. But the Army had also revealed itself to be imperfect, fallible, capable of abandoning its own when circumstances demanded convenience over loyalty. "Can I think about it?" "Take all the time you need." Mitchell stood to leave, then paused. "For what it's worth, Carver, what you did out there was extraordinary. Most soldiers in your position would have hidden, waited for rescue. You turned abandonment into an offensive operation. That's not training. That's character." After he left, Natalie returned to watching the snow. The medical ward was quiet except for the soft beeping of monitors and distant base activity. Footsteps approached, lighter than Mitchell's, uncertain. Chen appeared in the doorway. "Mom, do you have a minute?" "I have about 6 weeks of minutes, apparently." Chen entered, carrying a small wrapped package. "The team wanted me to give you this." As a thank you. Natalie opened it. Inside was a photograph. Task Force Echo, taken before the mission. Everyone smiling in the relaxed way soldiers smiled when they thought they were safe. Someone had written on the back, "You brought us home. Thank you."
Webb wanted me to tell you he's sorry,
Chen said, "for all the times he questioned whether you belonged on the team. He knows now that you were the only reason any of us survived." Webb should focus on healing his leg, not apologizing for being human. He also wanted you to know, if you ever need anything, anything at all, the team's got your back. For real this time. Natalie studied the photograph. These soldiers had followed orders, just as she would have in their position. They'd made a mistake, lived with consequences, and been given a second chance because someone decided mercy mattered more than revenge. Tell Webb I appreciate it. Tell the whole team. Chen nodded and left. The snow continued falling. Through the scope, the target straightens, turns. For one moment, she sees his face clearly. Mid-40s. Beard, scar across his cheek. Human. Her finger finds the trigger. This is the moment. The space between intention and action. Where everything balances. Where the bullet waits to be born. Elena thinks about the child in Aleppo. Wonders if they're still alive. Wonders if mercy was the right choice. Behind her, a soldier coughs. Blood in the sound. She thinks about 11 graves. 11 names she can recite from memory. Thinks about 37 soldiers who will die if she doesn't pull this trigger. The mathematics of war. Simple. Cruel. Absolute. 1 death for 30, 7 lives. The wind rises again. She adjusts. 2 mils left. Elevation up 6. The calculation happens in her body, not her mind. Breathing. Heartbeat. Target's moving. Rivers shouts. Through the scope, the target turns toward the building. He's leaving. 5 seconds. Maybe less. Alina exhales half a breath. Holds the world becomes silence. Her finger tightens. The trigger breaks. The rifle bucks against her shoulder. Muzzle flash. Cordate smell. The bullet leaves the barrel at 2,850 feet per second, spinning at 150,000 revolutions per minute. It enters a world of invisible forces. Gravity pulls, wind pushes, temperature affects density. The bullet climbs, peaks, begins its descent. It travels through 3 distinct air masses, each with different pressure and humidity. Alina watches through the scope. The bullet's flight time at this range 11 seconds. 1 Mississippi. The target continues moving toward the building entrance. 2 Mississippi. Hayes holds his breath beside her. 3 Mississippi. Artillery fire from the enemy position. Shells whistle overhead. 4 Mississippi. The bullet crosses the valley floor. Invisible. 5 Mississippi. Heat distortion makes the target waver like a mirage. 6 Mississippi. Her heart beats once. Twice. 7 Mississippi. The target reaches for the door handle. 8 Mississippi. Wind gusts. The bullet drifts. 9 Mississippi. Elena closes her eyes. She can't watch. 10 Mississippi. She hears it before she sees it. A sound like someone punching meat. Wet. Final. 11 through the scope. The target drops. Simply. 1 moment standing. Next moment gone. The radio explodes with noise. Target down. Repeat. Target is down. Confirm. Spotter eliminated. Enemy fires going wild. They've lost coordination. Mikhail's voice cuts through. All units, advance. Now. Elena doesn't move. Can't move. Her hands shake. The rifle suddenly weighs 1,000 pounds. Hayes grabs her shoulder. Holy hell, Sarge. You did it. 4,000 meters. You actually did it. She killed a man across an impossible distance with 1 bullet. The thought sits in her stomach like swallowed glass. Mikhail's voice, closer now. He's walked to her position. Get up, Sergeant, she stands. Her legs barely hold. Mikhail studies her face. You just saved 37 lives, you understand that? Yes, sir. That was the longest shot I've ever witnessed. Probably the longest shot anyone's ever witnessed. Yes, sir. He puts a hand on her shoulder. The weight is different from Hayes's grip. Heavier. More permanent. Who are you, Vasquez? Really? She looks at him. At this general who asked for a sniper and got her. At this man who will write a report that changes everything. Someone who answered, sir? The counterattack happens fast. With their spotter dead, enemy artillery fires blind. Shells impact random coordinates. Devastating but uncoordinated. Mikhail's unit advances under the chaos, pressing the advantage. Alina moves with them, rifle ready, eyes scanning. The training never leaves. It just sleeps until needed. They reach the valley floor in 14 minutes. Enemy positions collapse. Soldiers emerge with hands raised. Others flee into the mountains. Some fight. Those don't live long. Elena takes position on a rocky outcrop, providing overwatch. Through her scope, she watches the battle unfold like a violent ballet, each movement choreographed by desperation. She doesn't fire, doesn't need to. The battle's over before it begins. By noon, the position is secured. Medics work on the wounded. Body bags accumulate in neat rows. Someone plants a flag. Someone else takes photos. Elena sits apart, cleaning her rifle. Pull the bolt. Run the brush. Check the barrel. Each action removes one more moment from memory. Sergeant Vasquez. She looks up. Captain Rivers stands over her, helmet off, face gray with dust and exhaustion. Yes, sir. General wants to see you. Command tent. Now. She reassembles the rifle. Stands follows. The command tent smells like coffee and sweat. Maps cover every surface. Radio operators murmur into headsets. Mikhail stands at the center, studying a tactical display. Sergeant. He doesn't look up. That shot you made. I need details. Range, conditions, everything. 320 meters, sir. Wind variable, 8 to 12 knots, shifting northwest to northeast. Temperature gradient approximately 15 degrees. Elevation angle 31 degrees positive. Coriolis effect accounted for. Used a hand-loaded 300 Winchester Magnum. Time to target 11.3 seconds. Mikhail finally looks at her. You memorized all that? I calculated it before shooting, sir. And you've never made a shot like that before? No, but you knew you could make it. Elena hesitates. No, sir. I hoped I could make it. The tent goes quiet. Officers exchange glances. Sergeant, you're listed as infantry. No specialized designation. But your file shows you attended advanced marksmanship training at Fort Benning. Why didn't you complete it? Here it is. The question she's been dreading. I failed the final exercise, sir. Why? I refused to take a shot, sir. Civilian in proximity. You believed so, sir. Mikhail nods slowly. And after that refusal, what happened? 11 soldiers died in an ambush, sir. The target I refused to engage was coordinating enemy movements. My decision not to shoot cost lives. The tent stays quiet. Someone coughs. Mikhail's voice is soft. You learned that mercy has a price. Yes, sir. And today, any hesitation. Elena meets his eyes. No, why not? Because today the mathematics were clear. 1 life for 37. The equation solved itself. Mikhail walks closer. He's shorter than her by 3 inches, but he feels larger. You feel good about that shot? No, sir. Why not? Because I shouldn't have had to make it, sir. Someone should have spotted that position hours ago. Someone should have called in air support. Someone should have, but they didn't. Mikhail cuts her off. And you did. War isn't about should, Sergeant. It's about is. And right now, is means 37 soldiers are alive because you pulled a trigger. He pauses. Is that worth 1 enemy combatant? Elena doesn't answer. Can't answer. Turns to Rivers. Get her cleaned up. Full debrief in 2 hours. He pauses. And Captain, put her in for a commendation. That shot deserves recognition. Yes, sir. Alina salutes, walks out. Behind the tent, she vomits into the dirt. 3 days later, the recognition never comes. Intelligence reports filter through command. The target Alina killed wasn't a spotter. He was a medic. Enemy medic. treating wounded soldiers in a field hospital behind the command post. The actual spotter had been operating from a different position entirely. He'd fled when the medic died and chaos erupted. Elena reads the report sitting in her bunk. The words blur together. Wrong target. Friendly mistake. Fog of war. She killed a medic. Someone who healed instead of harmed. The mathematics shift. 1 death for 37 lives becomes 1 innocent death for continued combat. Mikhail calls her in. His face looks older. The lines deeper. You read the intel. Yes, sir. It changes nothing. Your shot saved this unit. The enemy collapsed regardless of who died. He was a medic, sir. He was wearing the same uniform as everyone else. You couldn't have known. That's the problem, sir. I didn't know. I just shot. Mikhail leans back. Would you rather have waited? Verified. Let more of our soldiers die while you gathered information. I would rather have not been in a position where I had to guess. Welcome to war, Sergeant. It's all guessing. She says nothing. The commendation is being downgraded. Mikhail continues. Not public. Just an internal note in your file. Command feels that recognizing a shot that killed a medic sends the wrong message. I understand, sir. I don't think you do. Mikhail stands. That shot was still necessary. Still brave. Still saved lives. The fact that the target wasn't who we thought doesn't diminish what you accomplished. It just makes it more complicated. Everything's complicated, sir. Yes, it is. Alina leaves the tent, returns to her bunk, lies down and stares at the canvas ceiling. That night, she dreams of the medic. Dreams of him treating wounds, setting bones, administering morphine to dying soldiers. Dreams of her bullet finding him, stopping all that healing. In the dream, the child from Aleppo appears, still holding the wooden gun. They look at Alina and ask, was I real? She wakes at 0400, drenched in sweat. 2 weeks later, the unit redeploys. Same war. Alina requests a transfer. Infantry only, no specialized assignments, no sniper roles. Mikhail denies it. You're too valuable? Like it or not, you're one of the best shots in this theater. I need you ready? Sir, I don't want to. Not asking what you want, telling you what you'll do. So she stays, carries her rifle, cleans it every night, doesn't fire it for 6 months, until the day she has to. The ambush comes at dawn. Elena's unit, now down to 20, 3 soldiers after rotation and casualties, patrols a mountain pass when the world explodes. Small arms, coordinated fire from elevated positions. It's a perfect kill zone. Contact left, contact right. Taking fire from the ridge, we're pinned. Mikhail's voice cuts through. Vasquez, where are they? Alina presses against a boulder. Bullets spark off stone above her head. She pulls out her scope, scans the ridgeline. 3 positions, maybe 4. Northeast ridge, sir. 300 meters, 2 shooters. Southeast ridge, 400 meters, 1 shooter. Southwest. Incoming fire intensifies. She ducks. Rock fragments pepper her face. I need them down, yes, Sergeant. She moves. Scrambles to higher ground. Hayes and Miller follow, laying suppressive fire. They reach a small depression that offers minimal cover. Alina assembles her rifle. Hands moving automatically. Bolt. Magazine. Which one first? Hayes pants beside her. She scans. Calculates. The northeast position has better angles. Higher threat. Northeast. On my shot. You 2 give me 5 seconds of cover fire, then get low. Got it. Alina settles into position. Finds the target, male, bearded. Feeding a belt into a machine gun. He's someone's son, maybe someone's father. She pushes the thought away. First round. Send her mass, the shooter drops. Searches for her position. Second round. Headshot, he falls. Southwest, she calls. Shift same. The third shooter has spotted her. Incoming fire churns the dirt around her position. Hayes screams. Miller drags him behind cover. Alina steadies her breathing. The shooter's using a ridge for cover, smart. Only exposing himself for seconds at a time. She waits. He pops up. Fires a burst. She exhales, shoots. The bullet takes him in the shoulder. He spins, disappears behind the ridge. Hey, status! Leg wound. Miller responds, bleeding bad. Elena shifts position, searches for the fourth shooter. Can't find him. Victor 2, this is command. Extract available in 12 minutes. Can you hold? Mikhail's response, negative. We've got wounded. Need immediate. The radio dies. Elena sees smoke rising from the command position. No response. She low crawls to a new position. Scans again. The fourth shooter is good. Disciplined. Not exposing himself. Then she sees it. Muzzle flash. Brief. From a position overlooking the command group. He's hunting Mikhail. Elena ranges the distance. 600 meters, but manageable. She adjusts. Breathes. The shooter rises slightly. Aiming. Elena fires first. The bullet hits. The shooter falls from view. All positions down, she calls. Moving to command. She runs. Miller stays with Hayes. She reaches command to find Mikhail bleeding from a shrapnel wound. Conscious. Furious report. 4 shooters eliminated, sir. 5th position possible, but... Gunfire erupts from a new position. They've been flanked. Elena doesn't think. Turns. Shoots. A figure drops 50 meters away. Then another appears and another. It's not an ambush anymore. It's an assault. They hold for 9 minutes. 9 minutes of continuous fire. Magazines empty. Weapons jam. Soldiers fall. Elena burns through 3 magazines. Her shoulder aches from recoil. Her ears ring. Everything smells like copper and cordite. Sergeant! Miller drags Hayes to the command position. The corporal's face is gray. Blood soaks through the tourniquet. Stay with me, Hayes. Elena checks the wound. Arterial hit. Bad. Can't feel my leg. That's the shock. You're gonna be fine. You're a terrible liar. She almost laughs. Ties off the tourniquet tighter. Hayes gasps. Better hurt than dead. More incoming fire. Mikhail returns it with his sidearm. 7 rounds. 8. Slide locks back. We're out. Someone calls. Ammunition gone, sir. Elena checks her rifle. 1 magazine. 15 rounds. Mikhail looks at her. Can you cover a retreat? There's nowhere to retreat to. Then we make a stand. Sir, with respect, that's suicide. You have a better idea. She looks at the ridgeline, at the positions where enemy fighters are preparing for a final push, at Hayes bleeding out, at Miller holding a rifle with no ammunition, at Mikhail, exhausted but still standing. She picks up her rifle. Yes, sir. I do. I'm listening. Their assault's coming from the northeast. 3 positions. They're coordinated. Someone's calling the shots. So I kill the caller. The assault falls apart. Mikhail stares at her. You can identify him. I can try. And if you're wrong, if they keep coming, then we die either way, sir. At least this gives us a chance. Mikhail nods slowly. Do it. Elena moves to the highest point she can reach without exposing herself. Sets up. The enemy positions shift. Prepare. 1 figure moves between them, directing, pointing. There. Range 900 meters. When minimal. Target mobile. She has 1 shot. Maybe. Her radio crackles. Mikhail's voice. Vasquez. Whatever happens, you gave us more time than we deserved. Thank you. Sir, That's an order, Sergeant. Accept the gratitude. She smiles despite everything. Yes, sir. The target stops moving, raises binoculars, looks directly at her position. For 1 moment, they see each other. 2 soldiers. 2 killers. 2 people trying to survive. Elena pulls the trigger. The target drops. For 3 seconds, nothing happens. Crowds erupt in confusion. Voices call out, Chaos! Everyone move! Mikhail shouts. They run. Carrying wounded. Abandoning equipment. Miller has Hayes over his shoulder. Elena provides rear guard. They reach the extraction point as helicopters arrive. Door gunners lay down suppressive fire. Soldiers pile in. Elena is last aboard. She turns, looks back at the battlefield. Bodies in the dirt. Blood on stone. Smoke rising like funeral pyres. The cost of survival. The helicopter lifts. The mountains fall away. Hayes grabs her hand. Still a terrible liar, Sarge. Yeah, I did. He closes his eyes, stops breathing. The medic works frantically. Compressions, defibrillator. Nothing. Time of death, 13:47 hours. Alina looks away. 3 months later, military hospital, Germany. Alina sits in a plastic chair, watching rain streak the window, her arms in a sling. She took shrapnel during the extraction. Dean heals clean. The internal wounds don't heal at all. Mikhail visits on a Tuesday. He walks with a cane now. The shrapnel damaged his hip. Sergeant. He sits. They watch rain together. Hayes's family wants to meet you. He says finally. They heard you were with him at the end. I'd rather not, sir. I told them the same thing. They insisted. They want to thank you. For what? Failing to save him. For trying. Alina says nothing. The shot you made. Mikhail continues. The one that broke their assault. Intelligence confirmed you killed their lieutenant. The assault collapsed immediately after. You saved 17 lives. Hayes wasn't one of them. No, he wasn't. More silence. The rain intensifies. I'm putting you in for a discharge. Mikhail says, medical, honorable, full benefits. She looks at him. Why? Because you're done, Vasquez, I can see it. You've got 2 confirmed long-distance kills, both beyond what most snipers achieve in a career. You've saved more lives than most soldiers ever will. But you're carrying weight that's going to crush you if you stay. I can still shoot. That's not the question. Should you? She doesn't answer. Colonel Harrison died last month, Mikhail says. Heart attack. But before he did, he sent me a letter. About you. About Syria. About the shot you didn't take. Sir, he said you were the only soldier he ever met who understood that mercy isn't weakness. That sometimes not pulling the trigger is the hardest choice. That carrying the weight of that decision, of those 11 deaths, showed more courage than 1,000 successful missions. Alina's throat tightens. He never told me that. He told me to tell you when the time was right. Mikhail stands. The time's right, Sergeant. You've proven you can shoot. You've proven you can kill. You've proven you can save lives. Now prove you can stop. He walks to the door. Pauses. Hayes's family. They're here tomorrow. 1400 hours. I told them you'd meet them. Sir, that's an order. He leaves. Alina sits alone. Watches rain. Thinks about triggers pulled and not pulled. About lives saved and lost. About the mathematics of war that never quite balance. Her phone rings. Unknown number. Hello, Sergeant Vasquez. This is Jennifer Hayes, Corporal Hayes's wife. I hope this isn't a bad time. Alina closes her eyes. No, ma'am. I wanted to thank you for being with him, for trying to save him. The voice breaks. For making sure he wasn't alone. Ma'am, I should have. You did everything you could. That's what they told me. General Mikhail said you carried him, shot your way out, held his hand. Yes, my daughter. She's 5. She wanted me to ask you something? Anything. She wants to know if Daddy was brave. Alina's vision blurs. She wipes her eyes. He was the bravest man I ever met, ma'am. He saved my life twice. He never complained. He always smiled. Even at the end, he was making jokes, quiet crying on the other end. Thank you, Sergeant. That's what I'll tell her. The call ends. Alina sits in the chair until the rain stops, until the sun sets, until the hospital lights dim. Then she stands, walks to the window, looks out at a world that continues despite everything, and decides to live in it. 2 years later, Arlington National Cemetery, before a headstone. Simple. White. Engraved Car Piarolo Yuxeas Bilovida Huspiende and Fatiar Enver Elomi. She places flowers. Sanyuts. She turns. Mikhail. Older. Retired. But still standing straight. Sergeant. General. It's just Patrick now. No rank. I'm selling insurance in Virginia. House. Boring. Perfect. They stand together. Around them, white stones stretch to the horizon. A story. An ended equation. The record's official now, Mikhail says. 40, 320 meters. Longest confirmed shot in military history. They're putting it in the books. They didn't use my name. No, they classified that part. Too many questions about the medic, about the circumstances, but the shot exists. Anonymous. Good. You don't want the credit. Elena looks at the gravestones. Credit implies success, sir. I don't think I succeeded at anything. Sometimes that's enough. Is it? Mikhail doesn't answer. Can't answer. A young woman approaches. 5 years old, holding her mother's hand. They stop at Hayes's grave. The child places a drawing, crayon stick figures. A soldier with a big smile. Jennifer Hayes sees Elena, recognizes her. Smiles with tears in her eyes. Elena smiles back. The child looks up. Mommy, is that Daddy's friend? Yes. That's Daddy's friend. The one who was with him. The one who was with him. Yes. The child walks over. Looks up at Elena with Hayes's eyes. Thank you for being with my daddy. Elena kneels. Meets those eyes. Your daddy was the best soldier I ever knew. He saved my life. I wish I could have saved his. Mommy says you tried really hard. I did. That's what heroes do? Elena's throat closes. I'm not a hero, sweetheart. Daddy said you were. Before he left, he showed me your picture. He said if anything happened, I should remember that heroes don't always win. They just always try. Jennifer pulls her daughter back gently. Come on, sweetie. Let's let them talk. They walk away. Elena stares at the grave, 4,000 meters. Mikhail says quietly, do you ever think about it, Cheer? Every day, sir. Regret it. Regret needing to make it. That's not the same thing. No, sir, it's not. They stand in silence. The sun sets. Shadows lengthen. I'm getting married. Elena says suddenly. Next month. Teacher. Never been in combat. Doesn't understand what I did. Will you tell them? No. Why not? Because some things don't translate. Some things only make sense to people who've stood where we stood, who've held a rifle while holding someone's hand, who've killed to save, who failed despite trying. Mikhail nods. I never told my wife either. She thinks I pushed papers, coordinated logistics. She doesn't know about the boys I sent to die, the orders I gave that ended lives, the mathematics I calculated every night before sleep. Does it get easier? No, but you get better at carrying it. How? By living, by trying, by standing at graves and remembering they died so someone else could stand here too. Elena looks at Hayes's grave one last time. At the drawing, the crayon soldier, the child's love made permanent. Goodbye, Hayes, she whispers. Thank you for the last joke. It wasn't funny, but it helped. She salutes, turns, walks away. Mikhail stays watching her leave, watching the sunset on another day of survival. 3 weeks later, shooting range, Montana. Elena stands at the firing line, rifle ready. Target downrange, 1,000 meters. Her instructor watches. Whenever you're ready, ma'am. She settles into position, finds the target, breathes, and doesn't shoot, lowers the rifle, stands. I'm done. Mom, you haven't taken the shot. I know. That's the point. She hands him the rifle. Walks away behind her. The instructor calls out, You sure? You paid for the full session. She doesn't turn. I'm sure. I've taken enough shots for one lifetime. Outside, the Montana sky stretches forever, clean, empty of smoke and sound. Elena breathes it in and drives home. 15 years later, high school classroom, Oregon. Teacher Elena Morrison writes on the board, The ethics of impossible choices. 23 students watch, bored, eager for lunch. One raises her hand. Mrs. Morrison, have you ever had to make an impossible choice? Elena pauses, check hovering. What did you choose? I chose what I thought would save the most lives. Did it work? Yes. So it wasn't impossible. You made the right choice. Alina sets down the chalk, turns, looks at this student who doesn't understand, who can't understand, who shouldn't have to. The choice wasn't impossible because I didn't know what to do. It was impossible because every option had a cost. I could choose to act, and someone would die. I could choose not to act, and many would die. The impossibility wasn't in the decision. It was in living with it afterward. The classroom goes quiet. Did you ever regret it? Another student asks. Elena thinks of a medic, a battlefield, a distance measured in meters and consequences. Every day. Then why did you do it? Because someone had to answer. The bell rings. Students file out. The girl who asked the first question. Mrs. Morrison.
Were you in the military? Yes.
Did you? She hesitates. Did you have to hurt people? Alina looks at this child, sees the child from Aleppo, sees Hayes's daughter, sees every innocent face caught in equations they didn't create. I tried very hard not to, but sometimes, yes, I'm sorry. Alina smiles, sad, tired. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. The girl leaves. Alina sits at her desk, looks out the window at Oregon trees and Oregon sky, at a world that continues, that heals. On her desk, a photograph, faded, worn. 37 soldiers taken the day after the battle, after the impossible shot, before Hayes died. They're all smiling. She picks it up, studies each face, remembers each name, and whispers the only prayer she knows. I answered. God help me. Outside, students laugh, run, live their impossible lives. Inside, Alina Morrison, formerly Sergeant Elena Vasquez, formerly the sniper who made the longest shot in military history, puts the photograph away, stands, and teaches.